taking that thing apart, taking your ceramic like dish that you like put your dabs in, and I literally put it on like a coil rod, and I just sit there and fucking heat it with the torch until it turns red, and then literally all the black and everything just fucking falls off of it pretty much, and then you got a brand new ceramic bowl.
Psh, can't argue with that. And I think if we should kick this show off, and I'll do a dab with you.
Oh yeah, dude, little great buckets.
Fuck yeah, I got the DOG 2.0. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into a Shedtime podcast in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Shedtime podcast, the sheddiest podcast of them all. And this is just a double OG cross. DOG, get it? Yeah. And it smells so good.
Oh yeah,
so
dude.
Good.
I didn't go crazy on concentrates. I know, fucking shocker.
Yeah,
I've only got
surprised.
I've only got 3 different strains at the moment, which I haven't been going super crazy on. But I did stock up on some flower, boys. I don't know if I said anything about it last week or not. Actually, no, I didn't, because I didn't have anything last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, you picked this up after right before the green room, right?
Yep. So I picked up some blueberry acai, little small buds, a little 7-gram bag. You know what I mean? Can't go wrong. $30 for 7 grams. I'll take it. And it's testing at a nice 22% too. Not too shabby. You know what I'm saying? And then I picked up a bunch of the LA packs. So I got some Cali Sunset, which I really enjoyed. I've only got about a bowl's left worth of that. Picked up some Tommy Shelby, which I'm guessing is a play on, Peaky Blinders, Thomas Shelby. But this is a nice hybrid coming in at 27%. And then I got some more of that Pop Rocks, dude. I really enjoyed it the last time I had it. So why not get it again? So I'm all stocked up on some flowers. So definitely going to be ripping some volcano bowls here after this here Dabski for sure.
Yeah, can't argue with that, man. I mean, good strains all around. I'm almost there now. I was just got enough out of that torch to heat this banger appropriately before it died. So,
dude, you know what I'm super bummed about right now? My Puffco's dead, and I just loaded a dab in it.
Oh, that hurts your feelings a bit.
Plug it in and charge it for a little bit.
Does it not have a pass-through charging capability?
Yeah, but I don't have a long enough charging cable.
For the money we spend on things like Puffco products, y'all could give them a 6-foot cord. Come on, man.
Well, here's the thing, bro. Any electronic you buy now comes with the absolute shortest USB charging cable ever, bro. Everything does.
Dude, I actually bought a power bank
3-4
like a month
inch
ago, and it's like this long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2, maybe 3 inches on every fucking cable I've got, dude.
No, 100%. Because like the one I have right here, I use it for my dashes, but it's actually from PAX. That's the PAX Pod battery charger, the PAX Era charger. Yeah, it's like the shortest friggin' thing. It's almost useless. Like I plug this thing in and it's just dangling there out of my computer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I hope that they charge really well though, and like it's fast. But
I know with my computer, nothing's fast because that is definitely not a USB 2.0 or what are they at 3.0 now?
Oh, yeah, I've got 3.0s on mine.
Yeah, like that's an OG USB. Like this computer,
like probably at best half amp charging.
Yeah.
Before USB Type C came out, bro. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, I was just looking into it. I mean, I've had this computer longer than I've known you boys.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Which
facts.
has been a while. So
Exactly. That's the thing.
About 5, almost 6 years now.
Like the entire time that we've all been friends, I've been using the same desktop, and it has served me well.
Dude,
over 6
you know what's crazy, Sean, is I've gone through 2 computers, I think, since we started. Because I used to do everything from...
Yeah, I'm on my 3rd, but like I started with a fucking 10-year-old laptop.
Dude, my YouTube channel got started on this fucking laptop, bro.
Yes, sir, it did.
The green room was started on this fucking laptop, bro. This thing's traveled the world.
Shed was born.
Dude, the Shed was
from
born
that
because
laptop.
of this laptop, bro.
Yeah,
It's so
if you had a
true.
desktop, it probably would not even exist.
That is so true. Shedtime wouldn't have gotten coined if it weren't for that laptop. That is...
As soon as they saw the laptop get picked up, they knew we were going to the shed.
That's a fact. Oh, it's shed time. I think that is the quote of Michelle Lynn.
Yep.
She's like,
I think it was
it's my
actually
turn too.
Liz.
It
Or
may have
Lizzie.
been. Yeah, we gotta make sure to keep that straight nowadays.
Yeah, dude. There's 2 of them now, so
It's gonna get confusing. Talk about confusing shit like that. I work for a company with 2 locations in the state. One in a town called Marlborough, and the one that I live in Plymouth that I work in. We have 2 guys named Sean who work in the company. One
Are they
each.
both spelt the same?
Nope, they're completely different, which makes it funny. He works out of the Marlborough office as a salesman. I obviously am a logistics coordinator down in Plymouth. But the number of times we get each other's phone calls is insane. Because the people
How
at the
does he
front
spell it?
desk...
Is it like SHAWN?
Yeah. But it's just the people at the front desk who get the phone call initially and go to transfer it. Some of these people, they just ask for Sean. So, like, she'll just transfer him to Sean up there. Not even thinking about the fact that, like,
There's
they
2
could be
Seans.
looking for the other guy in the
Yeah.
other shop.
You can't hear it in the pronunciation of the 2 spellings. Sorry, like
Exactly.
need a little more info.
Oh, man. That shit's hysterical. Then, to add to that confusion, I get into an email chain with him and a customer, also named Sean. And that customer and I spell our names the same way. And of course, we're not talking to each other. This is literally all in an email. So it's like, Sean, I'm sending the paperwork out to you. Sean, make sure his car is good. Like,
who are we talking to?
Sincerely, Sean. You know what I mean? Like,
And you know what, though, too? I think that my default, like, as just a person that has nothing to do with this, like, I think that my default spelling for Sean is, like, SEAN. Like, I know that there's other ways to spell it, but I think that, like, of all the Seans that I've known, I can't think of anyone that spelt it, like, AWN. Like S or SH.
I've met the I've met the AUN and an AWN. So I've known all different ways to spell Sean.
I think that I've probably met them, but I think that like people that were in my life, like people that like I was ever friends with, or like
These were
had
like people-
classes with.
That's where I was going. These were people I went to school with, like I shared classes with. But yeah,
I didn't really know that many Seans, to be completely honest. Like, I mean, I probably have only known like max like 10 Seans my entire life.
Well, I mean,
And every one that comes to mind is all SEAN.
I wonder if it's just, due to the popularity of kids' names over time, right? Because, like, we have that little bit of a generational gap where, like, the kids I would have been in school with, maybe Sean was a more popular name in the time frame that we were being born.
I can't even just be like the location.
That's true, too. It's true too.
Because like where I grew up, there was like tons of like Italian people and like Portuguese people and like people that were not like regular white people. I'm trying not that. Hopefully, that's not insensitive.
Yeah,
but,
that
like,
doesn't sound right when you
it
say
really
it.
doesn't.
Huh?
But I didn't.
What are you saying, Chris? That people in Massachusetts aren't named Octavia?
Well, no, I think that I'm saying more like the people that I know
The
or
non-ethnic
knew
white.
that were named Sean. All of them but one were like Irish or like European descent people. And the one person I knew that was like not is like his mother was from Ireland and her name was like Elspeth and his dad was Italian and his name was Sean. And it was spelled Sean.
Well, and I mean that's the Irish spelling of Sean, so that does make sense.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's why
Dude, the Irish have some weird spelling, bro.
Yeah, they do. It's that Gaelic influence.
Dude, do you actually know how you spell Siobhan?
Siobhan?
Siobhan.
Yeah,
Like
it's like SHOBON.
No, dude, it's like SIOBAHN or some crazy shit like that.
I've seen that spelling too. I've even seen Siobhan with an A, like CHABON. I've seen people pronounce it Siobhan and add a V.
But that's the way. So for me, I've never heard anybody say Shaban or Saban. It's always Siobhan, and it's been spelled like that. SIOB.
Dude, the only
Whatever.
Saban I know is the guy that brought the Power Rangers to the United States, man. And thank you, Saban, dude. Appreciate it, homie.
But I even feel like Sinead is like not spelled.
O'Connor?
Well,
That's the
I
only
guess like she
Sinead that
would
I
have been
know.
one. But I think that even that name, like the Irish spelling, is like not the way that the English language would read it.
I think you're right.
But yeah, like a friend of mine, like they have his like wife is like Irish Catholic, and they named their daughter Ashling, but there's no H. It's like ASL. Like ASLING.
Oh, I was gonna say like American Sign Language.
So that's Asling.
No, but it's pronounced Ashling.
But there's no H. There's nothing that makes an H sound in that.
Well, in English, yeah, you're right.
I mean, that's the thing. But then again, though, right? Like Sean, how does SE make an H sound?
There's no H in that.
There's no H.
And then you got Dean, bro.
Yeah,
Spelled the same, just with a D instead of an S.
Oh, I was like, whoa, wow.
You know what I mean? Like D.
What is weird about D?
S?
Yeah, no. I totally get it.
yeah.
But at first, it took me a second. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I've definitely.
He's like, wait,
called
what's the
people-
connection here?
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing that they always that kids would do when I was a kid growing up. Is it was like, scene. Like, really, is that the best you can do?
Rasheen?
Like, yeah, that's another question, right? Sean, SEAN. Where's the ah? Like,
Yeah, I wonder what it sounds like with like an Irish accent or
like
something.
EA does not typically make a ah. But here it is, an AW sound. Names are weird, man. Like, out of the sheer curiosity of this all, I wanted to look up like popular kids' names through like different years and like decades and shit. And so, like, for an example, 1980s, we have Jennifer, Melissa, and Heather, Michael, Christopher, and Jason. So those were the top popular boy and girl names in the 80s. In the 90s, you have Jessica, Brittany, and Samantha, Michael, Daniel, and Justin. And then we get a little more specific year by year, but this is where it starts to get crazy because you go to the 2000s and you've got like Hannah, Kaylee, and Elizabeth, Michael, Matthew, Joshua, Emily, Ashley, Samantha, Jacob, Joseph, Dylan. And then as we keep going, we start getting into the like stranger spellings, some of the going back to old-fashioned names. So we start seeing Aidens and Addisons popping up, Ethans and Logans in the 2010s. Isabella becoming a thing, Madeline becoming a name that's more popular again. I'm waiting for kids to start getting named like Edith.
Dude,
Ethel.
I met somebody recently, and they're 21 years old, and their name was Edmund.
Like a dude named Edmund.
Yeah.
And does he prefer Edmund over Ed?
He introduced himself as Edmund, and I said, wow, I've never met anybody with that name before in my life. I was like, I've heard of it, but I've never once met anyone. And then it was funny, at the end of our conversation, he's like a real nice guy. At the end of our conversation, I was like, all right, Edmund, take care. I was like, I just want to call you like something different than Edmund. And it's not because I don't like it, but I just feel like it's so proper. Like it's so proper. You
Right.
know? I'm like, I would never expect you to call me Christopher. I would just expect you to call me Chris. So, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I've definitely thought about it before. I was like, what would you switch to? Like Eddie? He's like, yeah, maybe Eddie. And then that was it. Like, that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah, like that's right. Like I feel like if I've ever met an Edmund in my life, he just preferred to be called Eddie and probably introduced himself that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I feel like I've known a couple of Eddies, and their names were Edward.
Like I've met plenty of Edward Eddies too, for sure.
It's my dad. Well, his family calls him like his brothers and stuff could call him Eddie, but everybody else calls him Ed.
Yeah, I dated a girl. Her dad was Eddie, and shout out to Eddie, man. Eddie, dude, he lived the shed life. He was the guy I talked about before on the show. That like he had the wood burning stove, cable TV, the whole nine. He was good to go in the shed.
That's pretty much gonna be my dad once he finishes his shed. But yeah, it's like for me, I never went by any of the James variations. No Jim, no Jimmy.
Always stayed James.
No Jamie. Just always James, bro. Never went by any of the other ones. My great grandpa tried it when I was like really little, and he tried to call me Jimmy, and my mom said I'd just ignore him.
Well, that's like a completely different name.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jamie and James, like they're the same length too, so it's kind of weird.
It's stupid.
It's like adding a syllable.
It's like my name is pretty fucking short as it is. Do we really need to shorten it up anymore?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Jimmy makes sense though, because you got Jim is a James variant. So Jimmy, I knew a Jimmy who that was how he got there.
Well, it's like my cousin Jimmy. His name's James, but he's always gone by Jimmy. But now, dude, once I got, well, I wouldn't say once I got into the vape scene because I got the nickname beforehand. But dude, Frames is the only nickname I've been given outside of my family that I ever answered to. Like I had a couple ones for my mom and dad when I was growing up. Mainly Bug. They used to call me Bug. And then one time I asked them, I was like, why did you guys call me Bug? Or think about it. Because I used to just bug the shit out of them.
Yep.
Oh, I thought that you were a snuggler. That's where it could have been that
my
brain went.
Who knows what the real answer is, Chris?
It's probably both, right? Like when you're real little.
My mom was probably the snuggle one, and then my dad was probably like you just bug the shit out of me. But they always called me that. Or my mom, of course, like you guys know, she used to call me Jamesers growing up. And when I was really little, that kind of stopped pretty quick.
Moms always have the oddest nicknames for kids.
It's like my sister and my nephew. She calls him Pickle. She's been calling him Pickle since he was in her belly.
It's a little pickle. I love it. I love it. Like my mother used Snoopy and Chili. Snoopy, obviously, Charlie Brown cartoons, and Chili because of Chili Willy.
That's still kind of interesting, though. Just Chili.
Yeah, my mother was weird like that, but yeah, she used to even into my adult life would sometimes still call me Chili from time to time, and she'd always think it's a Chili Willy.
Dude, I can't remember the last time I heard well, my mom still will call me Jamesers every now and then, but I can't remember the last time they called me Bug. Dude, it's been some decades, I think.
My mom never called me.
They'll call
any
me
nickname
Frames
ever,
every
bro.
now and then, and it's kind of weird.
My mom has only ever called me Christopher my entire life. I've never heard my mom refer to me or say anything to me ever. Maybe like, honey or something like that.
Or
when I
like
was a kid,
kiddo.
like, get that from mommy, honey, like something like that. But like, that's not a nickname. That's just a term of endearment.
Right.
But like, as for like calling me, nah, she always called me Christopher, always. And like, when I was a kid, I remember that my mom was like trying to get me to hold on. Like, it's one of those early memories that I have of like my mom trying to get me to hold on to like keep on writing Christopher and like going by Christopher. And by the time I was like halfway through kindergarten, it was Chris, because I was tired of trying to fit my name on stuff. And like, my name was too long, man. Like, I remember my mom telling me when I was young, like I was probably like 10 or something, that like I came home from school one day and I was like pissed. And I was pissed because my name was longer than my teacher's name with the misses in front of it. And my mom was like, what? Because my teacher's, her name was Mrs. Coleman.
Well, I mean, at least you chose Chris. You remember the that e-liquid brand Sickwood?
Yep.
So the owner of that company goes by Topher.
Yeah, like Topher Grace.
He's
the guy, Eric Foreman.
He's Christopher, but he goes by Topher.
That's like really weird to me.
And me too. Like, I respect it. I love him. He's a great guy. Shout out to Topher. I hope he's doing well. He made some incredible e-liquids. But yeah, like, it was just always interesting to me. He was the first person I've ever met that went by Topher. And he was like, yeah, like everybody else is a Chris. I chose to be a Topher. I was like, oh, all right.
One thing though that like I question, right, is like, at what age is it acceptable to switch that? Because like, I don't think that there's a kid that goes to school and he's like 5 or 4 and he looks at his mom or he decides and has that like thought in his brain, I'm going to call myself Topher. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what age is that no longer acceptable? Like, to me, I feel like if you're like 14 or 15 and you completely switch everything up, like, that's weird to me. Like, I don't get that at all.
I almost get it more than in your later ages. Only because, like, now you're at a point you're trying to, like, strike your own personal identity. You know what I mean? Like, I remember doing that as a teenager. Honestly, that is, where the origins of the Typhon and Sean Typhon come from. It dates way the hell back to, like, me being 15 or 16 and having a band and having to find what was known as an infernal name for this band for our character that we were going to be. And so I was going to play guitar as Typhon. And yeah, I've just kind of carried that in some variant with me throughout my life since then. But like, I kind of get it more then. I think what's really weird is when you have that situation where, like, the kid's in, like, first grade, you know what I mean? It's like, well, we have 3 Chris's in the class, so you're Chris, you're Christopher, and you're Topher. Because I almost feel like at that age, that's how that happens. I could be way wrong,
like,
but
for me, like, where I grew up, it was just you'd be your name and then your first initial. So there's like a David A and a David T.
Yep.
There's a Chris S and a Chris Q.
That was how it would be.
Dude, you know where it really got confusing though? Is when you had the same first name and the same first letter of your last name. Because then you're like, fuck, dude, we can't call you both Chris S, because then you're both Chris S.
Now you're going by last name only.
Now you're Chris 1 and he's Chris 2, or and then that causes a thing, because like who actually is Chris 1 and who's Chris 2? How do you justify? Yeah.
Yeah,
that was always the bummer for the guy
first.
Yeah, either that or the guy that came like later. Like, if you already were friends with the one Chris, of course he's Chris 1, and then the new Chris is going to be Chris 2. The new guy is always number 2. no matter
Yep.
what happens.
Or
You know what
Oh,
I
for
mean?
sure. So, like,
Or-
the Chris Q that was in my grade, he didn't start coming to my school until like grade 4. And, like, I'd had friends for 5 years at that point.
we
So, like, they didn't think of, when they hear Chris, they think of me.
we had 2 dicks in our friend group at one point.
Wow.
Rather than being Dick 1 and Dick 2, we had Big Dick and Thin Dick.
Oh
Quite
yeah,
literally.
then you get the big or little or whatever.
Because that was the thing. Like, Big Dick was like 300-pound big man named Rich who liked to go by Dick, so he was Big Dick. And then Thin Dick, we didn't want to call him Little Dick. That just sounded insulting. So Thin Dick was this like 6'2", 140-pound skinny man. Thin Dick. Boom.
I mean, just for the record, like, I think that Little Dick is actually less bad than Thin Dick. I don't know why. In my head, I'm like, Thin Dick sounds way more harsh.
Either way, it's not good, bro.
Yeah.
It's
We
a
are
tough
definitely
look either
arguing
way,
about,
bro.
like,
Here's the
yes,
thing.
they're both
What-
bad.
Am I was
The
gonna say,
lesser of evils.
in that case, am I thin shaming Thin Dick or am I fat shaming Big Dick? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
That like exactly. That's why like it worked for us.
If they were like different ages, you know, and one guy was like considerably older, then you could justify it like that. But then I guess when you'd meet the people,
Dude, I think Slim Dick would have been funny.
Dude, Slim Dick would have been, and I wish you were a part of that friend group at that time to have made that recommendation because
I probably would have shortened it too. You know, if it was like Slim Dick, I probably would just called him like SD.
SD, bro.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, I knew Thin Dick well before this period. So, like, all that time prior, he was just rich. But when he came to hang out with this group of friends at that time in his life, he wanted to introduce himself as Dick. And we were like, well, we already got Big Dick. So how do we refer to you?
See, I never did that. I never would go to like a new thing or like meet new people and like try some new thing to like get it to catch on. Like that was never like, and I'm not saying that like that's exactly what they're doing, but I never tried to do that. I would always introduce myself. By the time I was like 11 or 12, I would introduce myself as Chris, but I would always like kind of follow it up by saying like most people just call me Snyder. That's my last name. And then, so most people would just call me Snyder from the time I was like grade 6, 7. I'm definitely in high school. Like, all like that's what like I'd say like 75% of people would call me Snyder in high school
Until you became Snydro.
Yeah, whenever I introduce myself to people, I do the whole Forrest Gump. My name's James Franklin, but you just call me James. You know how he goes, my name's Forrest Gump, but you can call me Forrest.
Yeah.
Not really. I just thought I would say that just because that popped in my head right now.
I was going to say, like, I believe this. I don't know if this is true or not, but you could have totally got us.
Yeah,
It's
you could've
almost
used that on a
it's almost
Friday
the
night,
same
bro.
thing as like a James Bond thing, but
Yo,
I was
you
more of
could've-
a- I was
you
more
could've
of a
saved
Forrest
that,
Gump guy than
because that
James
could have
Bond
been
guy.
like 2 truths and a lie, bro.
you're going to say you could have totally got
us.
us on a 2 truths and a lie with that one. I would have
Yeah,
bought that
that's the
hook, line,
truth.
and sinker.
Okay.
Hey man, you got to remember this is Shedtime podcast. You won't remember next week.
I think I'll remember only because we furthered it. If we had to just full stopped it after that, maybe you're right.
Because dude, I can't count how many conversations we've had on here where I completely forget about it until somebody like says something that like refreshes my memory.
We have it on tape. How many episodes? I'll answer for everybody. Almost every one where we go to the what's new in the shed segment. I refer to the notes, and you guys go, "Oh, that's right."
Oh yeah.
There's
Which is
always
kinda
something.
sad because
Well, no,
it's like not that long. You know,
It actually
it's
is,
like
though.
ancient history though, but it's not really.
But it's a couple of weeks, bro.
We produced the show 3 weeks out right now. That's
3 weeks.
where
Okay.
we're at. I always have 3 weeks worth of material in the chamber, so that way, breaking the fourth wall. I'm editing the episode, and it is getting finished on Saturday. It is getting pushed out to patrons on Sunday. Audio goes live on Monday, and then literally a month later, I get to a point where I turn that video live on YouTube.
Gotcha.
So that way, like, our patrons get that video access for a solid month before the general public does. And it's funny because I was telling James about this last week. I recently had a company reach out and offer to do a meta-analysis of our podcast and recommend ways that they or even myself could help us with our podcast and grow it. And what was really interesting to me is they pointed out in this situation that YouTube is not up to date with the live content on regular podcasting platforms. And I haven't gotten back to them to like have a sit down discussion because after reading their analysis, it was really good. And I definitely want to talk more with them. But I haven't talked to them yet to tell them, like, that's the thing. They mentioned it's great that you have a Patreon. It sure is. That's one of the benefits of the Patreon. You have that video a month before the general public, and you have access to the whole episode before even the audio goes live. And so, like, it was just kind of entertaining to me. It was like, your YouTube's not up to date. We know that's by design. That's by design. Yeah, so we are always that far enough behind that like I could totally see how you guys forget about shit. Dude, sometimes I read those notes and I'm like, oh yeah, now I can elaborate on that.
Ooh, dude. I just cracked open this blueberry acai just because bags. This shit smells really good, dude.
You getting that nice sweet note from the blueberry?
Oh, yeah, definitely sweet, but I'm trying to figure out if it's a berry sweet. It's kind of got like that berry sweet with that little bit of like kind of gassy at the same time though.
That would make some sense.
Oof. Let's see how it tastes.
I'm going to go ahead and hit the Google real quick. We're going to see what the history of this blueberry acai strain is all about and find out what we got going on. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think it is the acai part of it that brings some of that gas.
Oh, also, I just wanted to like throw it back. So the way that name was spelled, like my friend's daughter, is Aisling, and it's pronounced Ashling.
That's totally an Aisling. and I'm just going to say this. I actually know an Aisling, and that's how she spelled it.
Yeah, they pronounce it Ashling. Like it sounds like it would be like Ashling.
Now, as we're saying this, I'm also considering the fact that I met her through the music scene, and it's entirely plausible that she chose the people just mispronounce my name, so I'm going to use it as my stage name. That's entirely possible. All right.
I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, I've met people who did that. And they're like, yeah, no, people just, mispronounce it all the time. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to run with it.
Dude, like, there's probably people out there on this planet that they pronounce their name and they say, oh yeah, it's like, nice to meet you, I'm Christopher. And you'd be like, what? But there's probably people that do that. I want to be even more original.
You're probably dead right about that.
Or they just take off the ER and just be Christoph.
Oh, the Christophs, yes. Because they want to accentuate their like, what is it, German, I think, heritage is where Christoph comes from.
Back to the whole Topher thing, though, I think that's honestly kind of cool. Because, like, I kind of see where, like, the thought process could go with why you would go with that. Because you sit there, you look at your name, you're like, every Christopher goes by Chris. But everybody gives up to Topher. Why don't I just take over Topher and be the one and only Topher? You know what I mean?
It's true.
Because
dude, think about it,
guaranteed, bro, there's not going to be any other Chris's that are going to take up the Topher, bro. Most people are going to
dude, I bet you it's like 1%.
Yeah. I've never met a topher. Have you? Well, Sean has, but
No, I've never. I've obviously seen
dude,
it.
you should start going by Topher now.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna start calling.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna start calling you Topher, bro.
Remember how you said you didn't answer to anything? I won't even acknowledge you, bro. Like that's
He's gonna roll it like over to you, Toph.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm just gonna start calling you Topher.
I like that Stizzy is very tight-lipped about the lineage of that strain.
They are about everything. Dude.
Yeah, dude. But their descriptions makes it sound incredible because they said the full effects of blueberry acai emphasizes naturally fruity undertones with a side of spice and pepper flavor. Blueberry acai is a strain known to leave you feeling relaxed while cruising an easy and restful high. Sold.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sold. And because it's Stizzy and it's one of their strains, you know what that means, right? You can get them in rosin pods, you can get it in flour, like
Yeah, most things.
whatever they make, you can get it. And that I do appreciate a brand that does that, right? Like you can fall in love with a certain strain and then explore it through all the different mediums. That's pretty awesome.
I used to love doing that. Like when you find a company that would not only do like rosins and stuff, but you could also get the flour that would be correlated with whatever rosins they're releasing. So you just get you get one thing of flour, one thing of rosin, and then you could just make just like super just dank bowls or joints or whatever at the time is what I'd do. And just be like extra power packed.
Well, I mean, again, like if there are certain strains that you love, like I'm looking at you over here, Chris. You know, a little GMO infused with more GMO is not going to hurt Chris's feelings.
No.
I would actually really elevate my feelings. To be completely honest,
Right?
we're like, ooh, color me intrigued.
I hear Exhibit. Hey, yo, dog, we heard you like GMO, so we put some GMO in your GMO so you can have GMO while you smoke your GMO.
Dude, fucking bring back Pimp My Ride, bro. Dude, honestly, I would love to see a fucking rebirth of Pimp My Ride. I'm not going to lie to you. With the things that are available now to put into a vehicle, bro, imagine the craziness that could go down.
I think it would be badass if you could do it in a way that it wasn't jank.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like a newer improved one where they actually do sick things and not put like a blender in your back seat so you can fucking make margaritas or some shit.
Well, like even the sick cool shit they did, like I've watched some videos of like car guys who have taken old Pimp My Ride vehicles and tried to like restore them and stuff. And ultimately it is the nature of the beast, right? Like they take a person's car from them, a booty ass hoopty, and in like 2-3 days they got to fabricate a bunch of shit to make it look really good for television. And so a lot of shit is jank and just hidden in order to fit the time constraint to shoot this episode.
Well, also, like, here's the thing, too, about them. Like, when you watch, like, a car restoration show, lots of times, like, they're dealing with cars that are, like, actually been purchased or, like, whatever, or, like, done to a point where it's already, like, partly restored. And then they're putting on all these aftermarket parts that are like bolt-on shit because like they're super popular and everybody's fucking wants to build like a big block Chevy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And these people will be like fucking souping up like a Pontiac Transport, you know,
or
like
Dodge
a fucking
Caravan,
yeah, dude, or like a Mazda 323,
a
like
Geo Metro.
They weren't doing like a 1976 Camaro. You know,
Samurai Suzuki, which actually my dad owns one. It's a 1980 like Suzuki, bro. It's actually kind of sick, dude.
What is it? It's like a Jeep.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a Jimmy almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
smaller,
Suzuki's
right?
version of a Jimmy. Yeah.
Yep.
Four-wheel drive.
Okay, and what did you call it?
It's called a Samurai.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Suzuki
I didn't
Samurai.
hear that part. Yeah,
Yeah.
Suzuki Samurai, yeah.
But dude, it's actually pretty dope, dude. It's like got that old school like 80s paint job where it's like white and it's got like some little sort of design going down the side of it. You know what I mean? But dude, like the inside is like it's got like that sound dampening stuff all the way through the entire cab. So like when you're off-roading and shit, it doesn't like fucking vibrate all crazy.
Oh, wow. I remember the last time I saw one of those, I was like, dang, dude, those are fucking small. It's like I forgot about them entirely.
Yeah. They're pretty sick, dude.
But
like,
they're small though, right?
Yeah,
like
I've yet to drive it yet, but I want to.
Is it manual?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Papa Jags.
Dude,
rolling them gears. Love it.
Well, that car
I actually
needs
need to drive
it,
my
dude.
car. I haven't driven my car for like 2 fucking weeks.
That
Gotta
little
fucking grow my
Suzuki,
own.
like, she needs that manual to do the things you can do with that. Like,
Well, I'm sure it's not really a powerhouse. You know what I mean?
No, it's just something that they could tow behind the RV and then just put around town if they need to whenever they're camping and shit.
Yeah, that's actually, and honestly, it's kind of cool because they could even probably take it, like, not off-roading.
Oh no, you could definitely
like
go down
off-road.
some like
You
some
can do-
like
you can
moderate
trail
trails and stuff.
Yeah,
for sure, dude.
yeah, like I wouldn't try to,
You'd
do
be
like the Grand
surprised.
Canyon.
You'd
in
be
one.
surprised, dude. Like it could do some pretty serious off-roading, like even stock. But dude,
Oh,
my
yeah.
dad's been watching videos about pretty much how to completely tear this thing down and build it back up and stuff. So he's like constantly watching different guys working on them. Like he actually got a part for his Suzuki from a guy that he was watching on YouTube.
Sick.
Somehow he I guess the guy has like a website or something. So my dad went to like the website and like started like talking back and forth with the guy and found out he had the part and he sent it to him. That way he was able to check it or pass emissions.
Dude, I'm just going to say this right now. Okay, so I just Googled Suzuki Samurais. And I think that they are probably smaller than the pictures are making them look like. And
It's not very big at all, dude.
But some of these men, like, they're very tastefully done, and they just look like they just look cool to me.
Yeah, dude, they're pretty.
Like when it has the hard top on, or maybe there was a hard top. It looks pretty fucking cool, man. They don't really look that good with the tops off, but I like them with the top on.
It's like an older Geo Metro.
It's like if Geo Metro was a 4x4.
Exactly.
I don't think the Suzuki deserves that kind of hate.
Well, it's on. Well, the funny thing about it, Sean, they're pretty much the same car.
The Geo Metro was a little worse.
Well, the Geo Metro is built off the same chassis and everything, dude. The only thing that's different is like maybe the 4-wheel drive and maybe the motor in it. But like over the years, like the Suzuki got phased out, and I believe I may be wrong.
I could have sworn. Well, at least at one point, Geo was a GM company.
It was Geo,
That's what I'm saying.
and it was Isuzu. Was the other, like, so there was like the Geo Metro and the Isuzu Storm, I think, or something like that, or like.
So
I can't remember now. Fuck.
So you're actually right in that the Geo Metro was a variation of the Suzuki Cutlass or Cultus, available in North America from 1989 through 2001 as a joint effort of General Motors and Suzuki. So you're absolutely right.
It's a variation of like that style of vehicle.
So in the US,
it's not like the same, but it's like a variant.
It evolved.
Do you
with
guys see the one
Cultus
that I
and
put in the
siblings
chat?
over 13 years? Interesting.
I actually used to get rides to school every day to like middle school in a Geo Metro.
Dude, there was like a turbo version of the Geo Metro. And like, I actually think that it was like pretty quick because it was like the Chevy Sprint and the Geo Metro were like the same, and the Pontiac Firefly.
Oh, dude, with the hard top on that is pretty slick.
Yeah, dude, I think it looks pretty slick. But like, I know that it doesn't look like that big in person.
No,
Like I'm probably just about as tall as that fucking vehicle.
taller.
Oh my god, the tracker. That's the one. The
Yeah, that
Geo
was the
tracker.
same as like the
That's
Suzuki.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Tracker and the
that's the
Metro.
one.
They're kind of like.
The Metro is like their little hatchback.
It was a
Oh
Swift.
yeah.
Compact.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
it was
right.
the Suzuki Swift and Pontiac Firefly. Those are like the three cars.
Yeah.
Thank
the
you, Sean. I got
tracker.
it mixed. I got the Metro and the Tracker mixed up.
Yeah,
I just thought Geo and just went with the first model that came to mind.
Because looking at them, the Geo had the Metro, the Prism, and the Tracker, sold through Chevy from 1998 through 2001, 2002, and 2004, respectively. I remember my mom having the Prism, and I remember the Tracker. As soon as I put my cursor over it and saw the picture, I was like, "That's the one."
Yeah,
That was their little.
that's
SUV.
what I used to get That's what I used to get a ride to school in.
I think that was the same as like the Suzuki Vitara or something like that. There was like a Suzuki version, so it's just like the cars. And there was like the Chevy Tracker, and then there was like a Suzuki version. And I think that it used to be called like the Vitara, and then there was like a Grand Vitara, and it was like how you could get the
the
ZX2
Grand Vitara.
trackers. Remember? You could get
Yep.
like the souped up trackers that had like running boards, and they're kind of like factory raised with like bigger tires and shit.
I do remember this. These 90s car models were kind of dope, and I kind of forgot about so many of them. And interestingly, it says in here, Asuna, a counterpart marquee to Geo in
Asuna?
Canada, was introduced by GM in 92 to provide Pontiac Buick GMC dealers access to a similar range of these import vehicles.
Yeah, there was like Asuna. Oh man, I can't remember now. But I do remember that company name.
Apparently, Toyota, Isuzu, and Suzuki all worked on the manufacturing of Geo models. Prism was produced at the GM Toyota joint venture in Fremont, California. Metro and Tracker models were produced at the GM Suzuki joint venture in Ontario, Canada. Exceptions for the Spectrum and Storm were entirely manufactured by Isuzu in Japan.
Yeah. So there was like the Isuzu Stylus, and then the whatever the one you just said
The
was
Storm. The Storm looks like they're like
it's like a
little sports car.
Yeah. So, and if you look at an Isuzu Stylus, it was the same thing, but it was just under a different name. It's kind of like remember the Eagle Talons? They're like the same as the Mitsubishi Eclipses, but they just like kind of had like a different front bumper cover.
Mm-hmm.
They were a little bit different actually, but it was like virtually the same drivetrain, all that stuff.
Yeah,
like
motor and
all-wheel drive
everything.
type shit.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Dude, there's still cars that are like that to this day, bro. Like any GMC or fucking Chevy vehicle, they're pretty much copies of each other, just under different names.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
the fucking
You get a
Sierra
Sierra
and
or
the fucking
Silverado.
Silverado, same thing. The fucking GMC Canyon and the fucking Chevy, yeah, same thing.
Well,
Yep.
dude, they've done that forever though, right? Like
Yeah.
Pontiac and Chevy were always
Dude,
the
and
same.
then-
It's like you get a Firefly, or you could
Chrysler
get a
and-
Sprint, or you could get
Was
a
it-
fucking
was-
Cavalier or something.
Couldn't you get like the same thing with like Ford and Chrysler too? Wasn't that like a similar thing too? Was it that or was it something different? No, Dodge and Chrysler. That's
Yeah,
what it
Dodge and
was.
Chrysler, yeah.
Yeah, which that's all gone to hell now because now Chrysler only makes minivans and Dodge
Or luxury vehicles.
Yeah, or
And trucks. What they is like Ram a different thing now?
So Ram is no longer under the Dodge name.
It's just its own
It's
thing.
its own thing, though it's
Ram
technically
trucks.
still the same company because that's
It's
all.
like how Chevy and Cadillac or whatever Buick, they're all still just General Motors products.
Yeah, because Fiat bought the whole Chrysler Motor Group. So Fiat are the people who build the Jeeps, the Dodges, the Chryslers, and the Rams now. And that's why a lot of those newer compact Jeeps, they look like some Fiat models because they're basically Fiat cars
dude,
with a Jeep badge on them.
Like that Jeep Renegade is just a weird looking vehicle.
That's the one I'm talking about. That is a Fiat with a Jeep badge, basically.
And my brother has one. The only thing that I thought was kind of cool is like I did like the taillights because they were like that X and like a block or whatever, and I thought that looked kind of cool. But other than that, like everything else just looked kind of awkward to me.
It's not a good Jeep. Like, as somebody who worked,
it's not a Jeep though. Like, I mean, it is. Sorry, hold up.
It's a Jeep in name,
but I always thought that was the same way for like.
It's like the same thing as like a Cherokee.
It's like, but Cherokees are like I don't know. They're like their own thing.
Yeah, like Cherokee, Grand really Cherokee, and then the CJ / Wrangler.
The Cherokee we had growing up as a kid was a piece of shit.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I've known
terrible, dude.
Not like tons of people, but at least 2 friends that I spent a reasonable amount of time in their like mom's cars, and that's what they had. They had like Grand Cherokees, like fully jammed, black. Both of them were like fully loaded, fucking leather, everything. Grand Cherokees, and they're nice.
I think like the Grand Cherokee though. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah,
the regular Cherokees.
The regular Cherokee is the bottom rung for that model, and so
I think it was all kinds of. I think it was transmission issues or something.
They all get that fucking awful rattle at about 100,000 miles. You can't do anything about it. Like, yeah, it is what it is. They're good for what they are. Is a little scooting around town. First, 100,000, 150,000 miles. After that, they start to get problems that you just don't want to get into.
I remember like when Sammy and I drove to NVE, we had a Jeep Cherokee, and it was not a Grand Cherokee, but it was like the North Edition. And I'll tell you what, man, I drove and it was like a 9-10 hour drive there. It is fucking pretty nice.
Yeah,
like,
it's
smooth.
Pretty nice to drive. Yeah,
it's comfortable as hell.
I think I know.
Especially if you have something like the special editions, like the North
I had a
edition.
Compass for like a week or something.
They're
like
all right. A Compass ain't bad.
It was a pretty nice ride. Yeah. But dude, back to like some of the newer ones like that. Honestly, like I wasn't sure about it at first, but like the more I'm seeing them and the more I'm seeing like people kind of customizing them and stuff is, dude, the Jeep Gladiator, bro, is kind of growing on me, bro.
I'll say this because I agree with you when they start to customize. Like, base model stock is ugly as sin unless it's in black.
Black ones, dude, it just makes it kind of look like a Humvee.
Like, well, black ones, I look at it and like, it's easier for me to forget the curvatures that remind me of it being a Jeep. And so I just look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just another pickup truck on the road. When I have the other colors, I'm more aware of the curvatures in the body lines that make it a Jeep. And then I'm like, that's kind of ugly. Until you start doing cool shit like putting racks on it and fucking like the tents and shit like that you could do.
Dude, just switching the fucking rims and tires does a lot.
Like, then they start to look really badass, and I'm like, all right, I can kind of see the appeal now.
Yeah, dude, I've seen a couple. I think my uncle has one. My dad was showing me the other day. And then we seen one when we were leaving the movies, and it looked pretty sick, dude. It had like a couple tanks, like it had like a fucking frame behind the cab, and then like on the side, like you could like put like it had a fucking couple tanks fucking attached to it. I think they're like nitrous tanks or some shit. Probably just there for show, but still look kind of cool. And then like he had like a fucking, it was either a wrap or it had to be a wrap because he had like a big old fucking logo going across the side of it. That looked pretty cool. It was white. But yeah, that looks pretty slick.
I will say I'm a bit disappointed by the Wagoneer.
Honestly, I was gonna say I kind of like it's definitely not like, oh, I'm gonna take this shit off road and fucking, you know what I mean? It's definitely more of a nice luxury cruising SUV sort of situation.
It's the poor man's Land Rover.
Yeah, honestly, I was just gonna say it's kind of similar. It's just like a luxury like SUV, but the thing about a Land Rover is you could still fucking take that shit. You drive that shit anywhere, bro.
That's why I
I'm
call
sure
it
that
a
you
poor
probably
man's.
could. You could have.
I'm
went
sure you could
off-roading
probably
with
still
the
do with the
Wagoneer.
Wagoneer, but dude, it
Like you
just
could
looks,
have went like
it looks
camping
so
somewhere.
big. It looks so big to me, bro, that like I don't know if I would want to take it like on a crazy fucking trail or some shit. Like,
Well, it's
yeah,
like
I
a
might.
Toyota Land Cruiser. I always thought that they were like very similar kind of sizes. You know
Is
what
a
I mean?
Land
They're
Cruiser like the bigger?
yeah,
They're bigger.
it was
like,
like the bigger than like a Forerunner.
The Land
yeah,
Cruiser.
I haven't seen a Land Cruiser in a long time.
They were like, yeah, I don't know if they still make them. They might have some new one that's like the bigger one.
Say the
But-
Land Cruiser to me was like the big brother concept of a Jeep. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it was a big brother version of the Forerunner.
but that's what I'm saying. Like the
But it was
Forerunner,
kind of like that luxury
Dude,
kind of
Forerunners were
vibe.
pretty sick.
The
Dude,
Forerunners that had like the convertible top or whatever, like the removable back top,
Oh yeah.
those are pretty cool. I will say. Like I remember like in the 90s, there was this guy who was probably at least 10 years older than me. And he had a black one. He had like a stereo in it. And I remember I was like probably like 11 or 12 years old. And I used to just see it. And he'd be like rolling by my house all the time because I lived on like one of the main roads in town. And he would like roll down towards his house with the fucking stereo going and the fucking whole top off. And it would just have like the fucking roll bar and shit. It looked so cool.
Yeah, I had a buddy across the street that had a Jeep, and you used to fucking love when you fucking bring it out and start when we were like little kids. And then my buddies, like their dad was a automotive painter, and also like he did like restoration work and shit like on the side. So like they always had all kinds of fucking cool cars and shit over at their house all the time that their dad was working on or like their dad had. So we used to see all kinds of fucking dope cars. And then once we got old enough to drive and have our own vehicles and shit, those dudes they had all kinds of shit, dude. They went through a mini truck phase. Like pretty much everybody in like the friend group other than myself because I couldn't afford it, and I had an 88 Dodge Dakota that was a piece of shit, and I'm not going to put fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars into putting airbags and paint job and all that shit on this thing. But dude, they did some pretty sick stuff, dude, with their cars thanks to like working with their dad, and their dad did a lot of the work, but it was cool, dude.
So I gotta say, yes, Land Cruisers are still made. The FJ series is still alive. However, I got.
Oh, it's the FJ? Is that what it is?
So the original Land Cruiser, like I just pulled this one up. I'll show you guys right now.
Yeah, that FJ thing looks kind of weird.
So the 1975 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. I just found one, and this thing is dope. Like this thing looks like you're gonna go into war. Here we go. Bang. Look at that thing.
Shit. Yeah, that shit looks crazy.
Like that thing is ready for the apocalypse. Like that is what the Jeep.
You know what's just
wants to
crazy
be.
though, Sean? It's like everybody after like the Jeep and stuff. Well, I guess they all kind of had like similar fucking, you know what I mean? Body style esque vehicles around those periods.
Well, you got to figure, right? Like World War
For
II,
military purposes. Yeah.
that becomes such an
Quick
integral
and easy,
part,
bro, because it's so much easier to build a square than it is to put a bunch of curves and fucking, you know.
Not just that, but like easy to work on, right? Like that's the beauty of a lot of those older style.
Dude, they would drop
trucks.
them off in like crates.
Yeah, just parachute the shit in.
and like fucking pieced out, and the fucking soldiers would literally have to put them together at their fucking bases or whatever. Or
Never
wherever
mind,
they're
like
at.
you break something in the middle of the desert, like it's so quick and easy to, take a spare piece of like garden hose and fix a hose, or, take the belt off that you're wearing if you snap a belt in the engine and still run that thing. Like, that's what made that whole style of truck so popular. And it's a shame that now you can't do any of that with a Jeep. Like, they're so computerized now that if you break down,
man.
like, you're pretty much screwed in a modern day Jeep. Like,
if you're not mechanically inclined or know something about electrical, it's pretty difficult to work on your own vehicle nowadays.
it's insane. Like, yes, you could do your standard maintenance, your brake jobs and your oil change and those sort of things.
But dude,
like,
some of these vehicles nowadays, Sean, they're putting oil filters in places where you have to fucking remove shit in order to get to the oil filter. So they make it to where you have to bring it in to get it serviced so that they can make more money off you after they sell you the vehicle.
100%.
Have you seen some of those? I'm sure you might have dealt with like some crazy awkward positioning back in your oil change.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was just talking about this earlier today. Like some of the worst places that we've had to get to oil filters, and like, for example, a lot of trucks today have a heavy metal skid plate that you have to remove that covers that whole part of the engine. So, you've got, a 20-pound steel plate held in by 30 screws that you got to remove. That alone can prevent some people from doing their own maintenance. Never mind, my favorite of all time is the Subaru Ring of Fire. This is the meanest goddamn thing a car company can ever do to somebody. They run the exhaust manifolds down the engine, and then they split it right around the oil filter, and then bring it down the exhaust.
Well, that's not like it's just a new thing. Like that specifically might be like a new thing, but like I always, up until actually this car that I have now, I've always just done my own oil changes like 90% of the time. My last car, I probably got like 2 oil changes done in like the 10 years I owned it. So like I definitely have done most of them. But like my 93 Cavaliers, it was like the 4-cylinder versions. Dude, where the oil filter was, it was directly behind at the very back of the motor, okay? And the exhaust pipes came like directly off. So the manifold came like directly. So you have like the motor would be like hanging down the car like this, right? And like this is the back facing out.
Yep.
The oil filter would be like right here. And the fucking manifold would be like coming out right here and then going like this. And then down out back for the exhaust, right? So every single time you'd fucking do it, you'd have to like let the car cool down for like 10 minutes so you could like rest your arm to some degree, like touch the exhaust pipe because it was right off the fucking motor. And I would not be able to like get it off and not spill any oil because like even oil just slowly dripping out after the fact would go right on that exhaust piece. So I would always smell like burning oil for like the first, I don't know, like a week. And it was unavoidable. Like, unless I was going to like wash it all down, it was just going to happen every time.
Yep.
And it used to drive me fucking crazy. Even in my cruise, it was like a top. So you went in through the top, but like, it was like a 22 millimeter socket, maybe a 20 millimeter.
Yep.
I don't know. It was a big ass fucking socket.
22, even 24 possibly.
And I'd have to like move fucking wires that would be like going directly to the fucking motor to like get it on there properly. So when I pulled it off, I would be like holding all these fucking wires back and stressing them. I'm like, why would you do this?
Yeah, engineers suck.
Like I've heard like mechanics say all the time, they're like engineers do great jobs, like, and you know, lots of times like they do really great things. But then there's other things where they're like, these are things that are general maintenance and things that happen all the time. And it's like they shut their brains down. It's like they don't think, oh, well, we should make this more accessible because this is a frequently, visited area for routine maintenance, like an oil change. Make the oil change the simplest thing you could possibly do.
It's like this fucking machine that I have at work too. It's not necessarily a car, but I was just thinking about getting to things to maintenance them or check them or, do any sort of adjustments on whatever may be having an issue, and not being able to access it because of where it's placed and how everything else is built around it. It's like that. I have this part on my machine that's like slightly out of calibration, so it kind of throws things off, and it's like kind of jumped in numbers a few times. So it's like I just want to see what's going on, and I can't get in there enough to figure out what might be causing an issue, because dude, I'd have to like be able to be Mr. Fantastic and bend my way in all kinds of different directions to get in there, dude. It's
You need
ridiculous.
like 4 elbows.
Either that or and even just to see what I'm doing, bro. Like I can get my hand in certain places, but like I can't see what I'm doing or what's going on. So it's like, fuck, what's the point?
Yeah, like the inability to think some of these things through drives me crazy. Like, here I go harping on the pros and cons of electric cars again. A little throwback to last week, but like the Ford Mach-E, the electric Mustang. What do you do when the 12-volt battery to that car dies? It's an electric car. You can't even get in the vehicle because that 12-volt battery is dead. They were smart enough to give you 2 little paddles that'll allow you to jump it enough to open the door and pop the hood, so that you can find your way past a mile of plastic panels to get to the actual 12-volt battery. Also, what happens if your main battery, like your fuel cell, is near dead and that 12-volt battery is dead? You can't charge your fuel cell. Your fuel cell doesn't charge your 12-volt battery.
Price you pay for getting an electric vehicle.
like this could have been engineered better so that these things wouldn't happen to the consumer, but they're not.
Well, here's the thing, Sean. I'm sure there probably is fail safes or like warnings to let you know, hey man, your 12 volts getting low, or you're low on fuel, and there's going to be that one guy or a few people that are like, oh, it's like a gas light. And how many of us have ran out of gas?
Oh, dude.
Never yet.
If my friend Jeff was here right now, he would just fucking scoff so loud and just instantly started to rip me. I think that there was like a stretch, dude, where like in one summer, me and him in the car ran out of gas 3 times in my fucking car, bro. We had to push it.
I think I've only ran out of gas like maybe once.
Oh, really? Dude, I probably ran out.
Oh, but dude, like flat tires or like locking my keys in the car or some shit, bro. Done that plenty of times, dude. Have you? I've said it before. Have you ever locked the keys in the car with the car on for 3 hours? I have. AC a cranking, dude.
It was like, if I recall, wasn't the AC cranking too?
Dude, there's a puddle underneath my car from the fucking compressor just fucking dripping.
It's like, great. Well, at least once I got unlocked out, the car is nice and cool.
At least I had a full tank of gas, so we had enough gas to get home. Well, it wasn't full when we got in it, but dude, crazy times. I
love it. Those are those core memories that we'll look back on, 20, 30 years from now and still laugh at. And that's always a great thing.
Dude, I actually plan on continually making just ridiculous memories. I just appreciate that they'll be a little lower scaled than in my younger years. But I want to think about it in 15 years and be like, oh man, remember when you were 44 and you did this absolutely ridiculous shit? That was funny.
Like not too long ago when you pretty much went on your trip and left all your shit at home.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one. Yeah, that is a good one.
It is pretty good.
I mean,
I feel it was like a massive moment in my life, though. So, like,
Yeah,
I think
dude.
that I'll definitely remember it. No doubt.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
reminds me of that time when I was 37 and I lost keys to cars at work in my own pocket. Yeah. I went through a lot that day trying to find those keys. A lot.
What other dumb things have I done recently?
That's tough, Sean. That's a tough.
Bro, I
Oh.
damaged a car trying to find those keys because we used a lockout kit. Whoa, I just lagged real bad. There we go. We used a lockout kit to get into it, and it ended up damaging the door a little bit. All for keys that were in my fucking pocket.
Were you like, yo, I just found the keys? And
So-
they're like, what? Where
All right.
were they?
So
Like,
let me set the story for you then,
Yeah,
okay?
I need to hear the.
So-
dude, I
how
would
this-
definitely like be all crawling on my hands and knees and pretend that I found them under a filing cabinet. Like I would be like,
Here you go. This is where it gets. This whole story is so amazingly dumb, and I'm so proud that it happened 2 months ago at the time.
Oh.
Right now, yeah, like this isn't that old of a story. Like this happened to me fairly recently in the currently new job that I'm still in. Thank God. Yeah. So I manage keys, whole lot of different cars. So we were moving some cars because the landlord wanted to try to tend to some weeds and stuff that are underneath where these cars are parked. There's a lot of cars parked in this section. So earlier in the day, some keys had gotten mixed up. I figured out that one of the keys didn't belong in that mix-up, chucked it in my pocket, kept it moving. Now we're moving those cars. We get to this one car. We can't find the keys on the wall where they're supposed to be. We're checking everywhere. We can't find them. Okay. Fuck. Where are they? So we're doing everything. This is happening at like noon on a Friday, mind you. So I'm frantically checking my office. I'm going through everything, everywhere, looking in every possible place the keys could wind up. My drivers get back from the road. I start having them help me. That's where we get to this point where we're like, well, I wonder if when we moved that car the other day, did somebody leave the keys in it, lock the door? So we go out, we get the break-in kit, use the break-in kit, get in there. Nope, no keys. All right. I send my drivers home because now it's like 3:30, 3:45 in the afternoon. We get out of there at 4. I say, fuck it. All right. I've got a few days before I'm fucked, so I can take this with a fresh head on Monday. So I go home. I go out to dinner with my wife, have a nice meal, pay for dinner, come back. I do the green room with you guys. And then after the green room, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go take a shower. So I start pulling things out of my pocket. You know, out comes my phone, out comes my wallet. As I pull out my wallet, there's a key tag in my hand too. And I go, no fucking way. What keys are these? So I put my wallet down and I look at the goddamn number on the keys. And by this point, I have had the stock number of the keys that I lost memorized, permanently burned into my forehead because I've been searching for them for 4 to 5 hours. And it's the same key number. The keys that got mixed up earlier in the day that I just chucked in my pocket to deal with later, I had forgotten about. And I didn't find them until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night after we'd finished everything. So then I had to sit with that Saturday and Sunday and then go into work on Monday, tell my boss, remember those keys that we lost? Well, guess what? I found them. I'm an idiot. They were in my pocket the whole fucking time.
what a fucking horrible conversation to have. Oh my god.
Yeah, because then it's like, worst part is that we used a break-in kit to check the car to see if the keys got left inside and we damaged the door seal. So now I got to get that fixed. Yeah. And I'm like maybe 2 months into this job and I'm telling my boss that I just damaged a car and lost keys that I didn't actually fucking lose because they were in my pocket because I'm an idiot. Yeah. So thankfully, Back when I worked in the cannabis industry, one of our vendors gave me a really weird keychain. A keychain I never thought I would ever use because it was part keychain, part lanyard. So it was like a real short lanyard with like carabiner on one side and like a ring on the other. So I thought, I have an idea. I got another carabiner. I now carry that with me every day to work on my hip. And if I ever have car keys, they don't go in my pocket anymore. They go on that goddamn carabiner, and it swings at my hip and jingles and is mad fucking annoying and heavy. So there's no way in hell I will ever forget that I have keys to a vehicle on my lot.
And that right there, everybody, is called, that's like the cross you bear. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's a way easier way to do it before, but then you have to punish yourself forever because your brain will not let you fuck that up again. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing, you know? I fuck up all the time. I just don't commonly fuck up on the same thing over and over again. I might fuck up once a week, but it's not commonly the same thing that I fucked up on before.
Let's think, right? Like,
and it's because of things like that. So like,
you're
shit
supposed
that I
to
do
make
that,
mistakes, but you're supposed to learn from mistakes.
I know, which means that I should probably find a better way sometimes, but sometimes I'll just go with whatever makes the most sense at that time, and then I just stick to it forever.
Dude, I'm one of those guys too that like whenever I run into like something where I'm trying to like figure out what I'm supposed to do, I'll smash my head up against the fucking wall trying to figure it out without asking or trying to fucking search for the actual answer. I'm just sitting there just fucking fiddling. Oh, let me try this. Let me try this. Oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. Fuck. Why isn't this working? Okay, let me try that again. And it's just like a vicious circle. And so, but recently, I will say this though, growth. I've just been saying, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ask for help. Instead of just wasting my time and getting frustrated. You know what? As soon as I feel myself almost getting there, because I like, why isn't this working? Once I say it like 2 or 3 times, like, why isn't this working? I'm like, you know what? I know why. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me go find someone who does.
Yep.
And it's been so much better, bro.
Wisdom is knowing when you don't know. For sure.
I believe Confucius said that.
Yep. And with that wise word of wisdom, I think it's a good thing to wrap this show up on. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Shedtime podcast. We really do appreciate all of you. Go ahead and give us a like, a follow, all that good stuff. Positive reviews are always a big help. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Uncle Chris to bring us on home.
Well, thanks everybody for catching an episode. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to say the same stuff I always do. Just go to shedtimepodcast.com, check out our Patreon, and just kind of enjoy the content, enjoy the design of the website. Just enjoy the website, period. Just enjoy content that is created by the Shedtime podcast, and we'll forever be grateful, for sure. Come by Frames, Jank, and Vapors YouTube channel Friday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the green room. Just come and kick it. We're always just having fun. More often than not, we're just chilling, having fun. So come by and check that out if you haven't before, and if you have, come on back. And I think that's everything for me. So everybody be safe, have a good week, live your best life. James, go ahead.
Shout outs to the Shedheads once again for you guys' continuous support. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Go check out the Patreon if you guys haven't. You want to get early access to episodes and, all the other good things over there. Of course, like Chris said, check us out Fridays. Other than that, I'm going to end it as I always do, sending out all those positive vibes. Chris by fives. Don't forget to tell somebody you love them. And as always, a little bag or dab will do you.
Absolutely. So, my friends, one more time, thank you all so much for tuning in, checking us out. We do appreciate it. Tell a friend, tell a loved one. And with all of that, I'm going to bring it to a close like I do and tell you, don't let the bastards get you down. Be cool. Don't be a dick. And whatever it is that you do, try and have some fun because it's the Shedtime podcast. It's time to roll on up and roll on up. Dynavap, Dynavap, Dynavap. Looking to cut the cord on your dry herb vape? Dynavap. Trying to get the best taste from your herb? Dynavap. Ready to take your sesh to the next level? Then meet Dynavap, the best way to vape your flower or concentrate. Concentrates? That's right. Your flower or hash can be vaped using Dynavap. Check out Dynavap.com to learn more. That's Dynavap.com. Lose the ash? Dynavap.
What's going on, Shedheads? It's your boy, Frames Janklin. Are you looking to step up your match game or have a raw copper, brass, or stainless mod or RDA that you're absolutely tired of polishing? Then you need to go and hit up my man Ashton of Palmer's Powders. He does some absolutely amazing powder coating work. He offers many different colors and finishes at an absolutely killer price. This man is taking powder coating to a whole new level, and he can make your setup an absolute masterpiece. You can go follow him over on Instagram at Palmer's Powders, and you can go check out pricing on his website, palmerspowders.com. That's palmerspowders.com. And as always, let's just vape on, Shedheads.
I want you to think of your favorite rebuildable right now. Yeah, okay, so you have a layer cake in your hand, and now you're about... Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not everyone's favorite. That's just mine. So think of your favorite rebuildable atomizer. Think about how good of a vape it produces for you. Now, take that and amplify it. And the way that you amplify that is you put in some Breezestone coils. Breezestone coils are handcrafted in Adelaide, Australia. They're made from some of the finest quality wire that you can get. I believe it's wire Buddha. You take those coils, you take them out of that phenomenal packaging that clearly shows how much care that Adam puts on the quality of his coils and the insurance that you get them in good shape. You put them in that favorite RDA, and guess what? You have coils that now sing better than Celine Dion. Go check out Breezestone coils. You can find them on localvape.com and also steelvalleyvapors.com. Solid.
Inhale. Exhale.
I just got an ounce in the mail.